Hey, Gator Nation. Welcome back to an all-new episode of the Respect Our Decision podcast, guys. As always, I am your boy Hirsch. With me, CJ the Man McCann.
What's up, guys?
And the hype man, Wes.
What's good, Gator Nation?
Yes, sir, Gator Nation. Hey, man, it's been a busy week, Gator Nation. New college football game is out. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Cormani McClain is in the old news again. Who would have thought? SEC Media Days, and we got a big commitment coming this Sunday from Vernell Brown, man. We're going to talk about that a little bit here in a minute. As always, guys, if you're checking us out on YouTube, you're just now stumbling across this little show, you've never done it before, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, guys. It helps us a ton. Make sure, leave a like on the video, guys. If you do nothing else, just drop us a like on the video. It helps us with the old YouTube algorithm. I don't get it. Maybe you do. It helps. We appreciate it. And leave a comment down below, guys. If you got college football, EA Sports College Football 25, what was the first team you took in your dynasty, man? I mean, I got two going. I told these guys right before the show, I got a Georgia Southern dynasty and I got a Florida dynasty. There's a lot going on in that game, man. A lot of people were complaining already. It is what it is. We'll get to it in a minute. But anyway, guys, make sure also if you want to listen to this podcast, download us wherever you get your podcast from. As always, we're available on all platforms. And before we jump into it, guys, if you are able, if it is in your realm and you have not already do so, guys, go out there, check out Florida Victorious at floridavictorious.com. Use our code decision, save 20% off your first month. Help support Gator athletes. We just had the MLB draft here the last few days. We got a whole bunch of kids coming back. Colby Shelton most likely coming back. And we lost a couple of guys, and NIL plays a big role into that. CJ can kind of shed some light on that, on that one particular pitcher that we lost. Kind of sucks, but that's the age of sports that we're in now with a college game. So, guys, let's jump into it, man. Wes, you're kind of out in the cold on this. You don't have the game yet. You're like the one guy out there that doesn't. I understand why, though. You're waiting to buy your son a new system, for Christmas, I believe you said. So Wes, by the time Wes gets to play the game, all the servers should be working fine, and there should be like 7 different patches made. It's a little rough out there in those college football streets right now, man. But it was to be expected. The game is probably the most expected, hyped sports game to ever come out. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm having just a big time playing it, man. A lot of fun, a lot of different things to do to immerse yourself in. I love what they did as far as the atmospheres that they created, the scans that they did. Now, don't go out there looking for player accuracy, because I'm gonna tell you that ain't there. They definitely didn't do player scans, but I get it, man. An 85-man roster is going out there and trying to scan all these kids. You be there for a long time. CJ, what are some things that you're doing here in this first week of college football 25?
Yeah, I mean, I jumped on, of course, just played a few games against my friends. Had a lot of fun there. I had to play with Florida. I love that Florida has a ton of uniforms in the game, which is really cool. I was wondering what we were going to do with that because, Florida really hadn't had that many uniforms under the Billy Napier tenure, but they brought them over from the Dan Mullen times. So you got all the throwback uniforms, which was really cool. The black uniforms, the all whites. That was really sweet. Considering what Florida used to have in the games, we didn't have much. You had the orange, the blue, and that was it. It's a lot of fun. As far as a football game, the most fun I've had in a long time playing a football video game. Dynasty is always my favorite thing in the game. I'm into that. It's a lot different than it used to be, a lot more in depth, but it feels like a natural progression from where it was in 14 to now. The stadiums, the atmosphere looks great. They got the colleges you really feel like you're in a college atmosphere. One of the things with the old game, it was drumline fight song, and that was it. Now they have a lot of the queued up third down music, the first down music, the kickoff.
Man, they have "Welcome to the Jungle" playing, and
things like that. It's really, really cool. It really immerses you in the game. They took a lot of samples from actual bands. The stadium pulse is really cool. Unless you're on the away team, then it's not so cool. But that's the way it should be when you're playing in these hostile environments. So I think they did a really good job of capturing the spirit of college football in this game. There are a few little nitnoid things that aren't, great yet, but there's, they're going to work on this thing. They probably would have loved another year to keep working on it, but I don't think we would have all. I think we'd all rather have this version than wait another year to play the game. But there are a few things they need to patch, and they've admitted that there's some stuff they're going to work on. So, and I think that's just modern day gaming anyway. I think any game now, even the AAA games that they come out with they're all ready for day one patches. Thankfully, it's not like it used to be where if glitch was in the game, it was just in the game. There wasn't no patch. That's what you had. But no, I love it. I've enjoyed everything about the game. A lot of the cool stuff. Haven't jumped into Road to Glory yet. I've been reading that Road to Glory is really hard. They've added a lot of the RPG elements back to Road to Glory, kind of built on what it used to be, and added some things back in there as far as going to class and the different drills you have to do. It's really hard to work your way up through a depth chart.
And a lot of people failing out of school.
Yeah, a lot of people are flunking. They're not there to play school. So I get it.
The Cardell Jones mode.
Yeah, the Cardell Jones simulator. I love it. I've enjoyed the heck out of it. I've had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, there's always going to be complaints, but they're minor. If you had to rate this game, I think I've given it like a 9.5, a 9. I think it's wonderful. Maybe that's just my nostalgia, but to have it back after 11 years was a really, really big deal to a lot of us. So, man, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I think if you haven't played it, if you're worried about it, if you're really serious college football fan, you like playing video games, this is a phenomenal game. It really, really does justice to the game that we love to watch on Saturdays.
Yeah, I know a lot of people I know a ton of people had the pre-order, and obviously you had to spend a little bit extra to get that deluxe edition and all that good stuff. And so I know a lot of people aren't going to be playing it till Friday, maybe a lot of our listeners that haven't played it yet. And all I'm going to say is when you get on, don't be overwhelmed. Play you a game versus a computer real quick, kind of get familiar with it. If you've played Madden recently, there's a lot of similarities, but the game is a lot faster to me. And obviously all the different playbooks can be very overwhelming. There's a lot of things, speed option, craziness. I mean, the RPO stuff that wasn't in the last college football game. If you haven't played Madden since, you're kind of going to be like, what is going on here? And that damn kicking meter can go to hell. That some bitch.
I was like, I'm all for like making kicking a little more difficult because in Madden it is.
Because if Florida Gators know anything, challenging kicks can win and lose you a ball game. But every kick in this game is a challenging kick.
Yeah, I get up into the difficulty trying to kick the football, but man, they didn't have to do this. Even extra points are a challenge. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah, it is literally probably the hardest thing in the game.
Yeah, lining up to kick a 55-yard field goal is not easy.
You go for it. Just take the Billy Napier approach and just go for it. If it's under 4th and 5, just go for it. Your chances are dramatically higher. But no,
the analytics say go for it.
Yeah, the analytics definitely in this game say go for it. So I'm not going to spend much more time on this because Wes is out here in the cold. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Y'all got me just kind of left out here. But like I said, guys, enjoy it. Don't spend too much time getting down on a game that we haven't had in a decade. Every video game that is released now outside of a very small handful have bugs. Almost every sports game that comes out now has bugs. Madden's got something wrong with it every single year. So if anybody thought that this game was going to come out and be perfect, your expectations were too high. Just go enjoy it. Enjoy it for what it is. Find your game mode that you like to play. Play with your friends, man, and be thankful that you've got something to get us until the regular season gets here. So something else, something that's not in the game that took place today, SEC Media Days, man. Billy Napier, Shamar James, and Graham Mertz and them out there for SEC Media Days. You go online now and find a picture of Billy Napier wearing a cowboy hat, which is the one thing that I didn't know I needed in life, but here we are. Just gonna hit on some comments from Billy and some things I saw from Shamar. I got pulled up right now. Look, what have we learned about Billy Napier since he's been here? Billy Napier is not going to take the podium and say anything that should surprise anybody. Listen to Billy Napier press conference. It is like listening to that white noise you listen to go to sleep at night. Hey Alexa, play white noise to fall asleep. That's a Billy Napier press conference. You're not gonna hear this rah. He's not gonna get over emotional about anything, and anybody looking for that at this point in the game, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you're setting yourself up for failure. But a few comments I saw. One, the change in the approach in the new strength and conditioning staff has been apparently incredible. From January to April, Florida gained 500 pounds of lean muscle combined. I think we'll all say that's pretty awesome. Damian George, I think, was singled out as losing close to 20 pounds himself. I mean, now, these are the kind of changes that I think we all were kind of looking for out of a new strength and conditioning staff. I don't think, we lost Wes. Wes is dropped on it. Oh, he's back. Don't mind us. Don't mind us.
Yeah, I have rain and bad weather, so I apologize for that. It's lightning and thunder now. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we got you, brother. So these are the things you want to see. You want to see the team getting stronger. Obviously, we've talked about the line of scrimmage the last 2 years, both lines of scrimmage getting pushed around, and that's obviously a big change that you love to see, and hopefully it pays dividends come the fall. And Billy's comment to that was it's going to be a huge part of our success this year. So he downplayed the schedule, which you're going to expect him to do. He can't come out and say the schedule's too tough. We can't compete against the schedule. What if you're expecting him to say that? I don't know what to tell you. Like, he's going to come out and say, look, we play tough teams every year. And one of his comments is, we played some of the best teams in the country down to the wire the past couple of years. We're close. And I know that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. Like, no, I want to hear it's not good enough. We need to win the games. Billy Napier knows it's not good enough because it's his job that's on the line. And I'm not defending the coaching. I'm just defending that he's not going to get up to the podium and say some of these things that people want him to say, because he's not doing fan service with this. I mean, and I understand a lot of people want that, but that's just not his way. And I mean, look, for better or worse, Billy Napier, we've already talked about it ad nauseum. This year, he's going to sink or swim, and this is either going to matter or it's not going to matter at the end of the day. Wes, I'm sure you've seen some of the comments, and we're talking about this now. I mean, did you take anything away from anything that you saw Billy Napier said at Media Days today?
Well, I'm going to use my hands like Billy uses his hands when he's talking.
Is it?
Like him and Nick say. But nah, I mean, the thing that he said, that if people want to look for a fine line, in everything he said, the thing that he said is, we were right on schedule where I think we should have been. We knew what we were getting into when we came here, and a lot of work needed to be done, and a lot of things need to happen, whether you believe that or not. The past is the past. Yesterday is gone. We focus on tomorrow, so we can't dwell on what happened last year and the year before. Right now, we're approaching the 2024 season, and that's where he's at, and he's saying, this is where, right now, I know there's a lot of talk on message boards, social media, etc. Napier has his players now. Y'all gonna put pressure on? Well, he has his players now. We're gonna. He has to shut up, put up, and right now he needs to go ahead and do his thing. So he talked about being on schedule. This is where he felt like, and he says so to speak, but we're not trying to put too much pressure on himself and the staff and the kids. But he was saying this is where he knew it was a long road ahead. Basically, not throwing Mullen under the bus. And I know people don't like to hear about Mullen, but he was left a shit show when he walked into. So it is what it is. Whether you believe that or not, you're in the minority with that. The majority of us know who follow this program, who have been following this program closely, what Muschamp inherited, what McElwain inherited, and now with Mullen inherited, and now with Billy Napier, he's coming to the worst situations for his players on the roster, etc. With the NIL, with all this stuff changing, the new SEC. Now we have Texas, Oklahoma. I mean, it is what it is, though. We still believe we're the University of Florida. We're not the program we were 15 years ago, but that doesn't. Excuses is not what the fan base wants to hear. It's not what Hirsch wants to hear. It's not what CJ wants to hear. And it's damn sure not what West wants to hear. So it is what it is. This is year 3. He has a lot of his players. So I'm with that crowd that you have your guys now, transfer portal, etc. You got to do it on the field. The recruiting's been okay this year, notwithstanding. But the recruiting has been okay where now you have guys in your system and you need to have those guys on the same. You need to show your coaching on the field acumen. That needs to be seen by us. We need to see that improvement. We don't care about recruiting right now. We care about it, but we want to see the on-field results from the guys that have been in your culture, in your program for multiple years. We need to see that progress and what year 3 of Billy Napier team should look like.
Yeah, CJ, do you have any takeaways about any of the things that Billy had to say today? That, I mean, obviously, I mean, it's kind of a Billy Napier press conference recorded.
Copy and paste. Billy Napier
copy pasta.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not a bad thing. I've always been of the mindset of I like the fact that Billy doesn't give any reporters any headlines from its press conferences, as opposed to what we had dealt with prior with death.
God knows with our media you can't, and he knows you can't do it.
Fake death threats. Do you want a thumb wrestle? Stuff like that they can just kind of twist and weave. And we're in the season right now. We'll talk about recruiting after the season. Shout out Dave Waters. That kind of stuff. I've always been a fan of Billy Napier for being very straight laced. It's kind of like I consider it like a guy. If you hire somebody to do your finances, or you have a doctor, you don't really want them to come in and be goofy and stupid, and you don't want that guy with something very important. And the Florida Gators are very important to me. So I don't want Billy Napier to be this goofy, stupid guy coming in and talking about the University of Florida. So I don't have a problem with it. And I think we're all 3 have the mindset of this is it. This is the year. It's either you either got to shit or get off the pot. I mean, I think we're at that point. If we want to, be very blunt about it. Billy is, I think, on paper, he's more talented than 8 of the 12 teams we play. So, you can either make up some wins with coaching, or you could lose some games with your coaching. Talent-wise, we're the best we've been in a long time. I don't think anybody in the building is going to deny that, or anybody outside of the building is going to deny that. We've got a lot of great players now. We've got a lot of experience coming back. We've got a quarterback in his 2nd year of the system. Billy Napier is the first time he's had a quarterback for 2 years in a row at Florida. So I want to see how that helps. I want to see what he can do with that. We've made a lot of strides, I think. Now it's just going to come down to, can you make them count? Yeah, it looks good on paper, but we don't play on paper. We play on turf. So you've got to figure out what we're doing here. But I think that the strength and conditioning quotes are very encouraging. We'll have to see it for ourselves with our own eyeballs. There's been times where I think we've been lied to or misled. We've been led astray and run amok by things we've heard about the strength and conditioning, players' weights, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see how that works out. and we will. I mean, you know, you can't really lie about that stuff because we have eyeballs. So
We've been
we'll
fooled by
see.
pictures of baby oil before.
But yeah, so you've got guys that are apparently responding really well to the strength and conditioning. Everything that Billy said is 100% dead on. Billy Napier is not stupid. He knows when he took the job. He said in his first press conference that if I don't win games and I don't recruit well and I don't do that, I'm not going to have a job here. He's very realistic about what he took on and knows that the University of Florida there come expectations. Now those expectations have kind of shifted over the years, but they're still at the very core of it. We talked about it last week. There are expectations. So now we've eliminated excuses. I can't defend it anymore if we go out there and we look like the Bad News Bears. It's just not. We've done all we can do. I have fallen on the sword for Billy Napier many times. So now this is it. He's either got to do it or we're going to be looking for a new coach. So I think he will do it though. I think he'll figure it out. I believe that this season he will get it figured out. So take that with what you will. You can record this and call me an idiot when we're 2-6 or whatever you want to do. Yeah, I think that Billy gets it figured out. I think we have a far more talented team than we've had in a long time. And like I said, I think that Billy Napier's comments are not going to be very rah-rah. You're not going to get up and scream and jump up and down. They're not going to make you want to run through a wall or anything like that. But it's not his job to motivate us. It's his job to motivate his players.
Yeah, I totally agree. A little bit of breaking news. DJ Pickett, 5-star defensive back out of Florida, just committed to LSU as we're recording the show.
Not Oregon.
Yeah.
Not Oregon. Wow.
Corey Raymond trying to dispel any rumors of his demise. We'll see if that one sticks. That one, that one is one I could see being flipped by the end of the year. I'm not saying we're going to flip him, but we'll have to see how that one rolls.
Yeah, somehow C-Ray has returned.
Yeah. Billy Napier and Shamar James both gave a big shout out to Ron Roberts today as well at Media Days. Both said that Ron Roberts was going to make a real difference in the defense this year, that he has really come in and hit the ground running and really helped coach on, be a good influence. And one other comment Shamar James made I wanted to talk about was players that might surprise us on the defense this year. And the names he threw out were, first and foremost, very surprising to me. Greg Smith, the 3-star defensive back that we got, late in the cycle last year, was one he threw out. Jameer Grimsley, I don't think anyone's surprised very much by that. Everyone kind of knew Jameer Grimsley had the talent to be really good, but he's still a freshman. DJ Douglas, transfer from Tulane, and Trequezi Bridges, the transfer from Oregon. He goes, these are guys that, not a lot of people are talking about right now, but he believes they're going to make a big splash on the field this year. So hopefully we don't see the 2 freshmen that much. I'm really going to be honest with that. I need to see more upper class defensive players on my field more often than not this time. Another comment that Billy Napier made today, and unfortunately this comment had to be made, but was that the recent reports that Cormani McClain was not meeting the standards and was, if you're on the Twitter machine and you know who Polkway is, and I hate to even give him the time of day during our show, but he's part of the reason this is spread to the way it has, is saying that yesterday coming out and saying he had sources saying that Cormani had been kicked off the team, of which real quick Will Harris got onto Twitter and said not true. And then there were reports from multiple people saying that Cormani had a really good week. This is probably the best week he's had since he's been there. Nick De La Torre, who I give a tremendous amount of credit to, and I know Nick didn't just put this out there without having it sourced from a really good place, said up until last week, Cormani had been late to meetings and to lifts and things of that nature. And it had gotten to a point where they were making his teammates pay also for him being late to lifts and stuff like that. Now, this is not a comment that's going to get thrown out there by Nick of all people unless there's some substance to it. Nick is very thorough with what he says and very careful to put out the things he puts out. He takes these things with, a lot of pride. So, look, we knew the baggage Cormani was coming in with. So did the staff. That's the reason he's not on a scholarship right now. He's a preferred walk-on. He's got to earn his spot. So if he doesn't earn his spot, if he doesn't do the right things, you're not in a bad position if you have to say, look, it's not working out. There's a lot of people out there, and a lot of rivals and whatnot are trying to get their trolls in by saying, oh, this makes Florida look bad because we begged Cormani to come here. Look, don't fall into these traps, people. I'm here to tell you, none of it is that crucial. If this kid tomorrow, for whatever reason, is not on the Gators roster, nothing was lost. Nothing. You took a flyer on a very talented young man. There's no doubt the talent that he brings. But you also knew what issues came with it. So it's one of these that you either sink or you swim. And maybe, and I don't know, I can't predict the future on this, but maybe this is the kind of motivation, having it put out there, that Cormani needs to elevate himself to where he needs to be. Billy Napier came out, like I said today, and said, all these reports were very overblown, that he's in a good spot right now. And that's all we have to go on. And like I said, if next week it comes out, look, Cormani didn't do the things he was supposed to do, and we've gone ahead and dismissed him from our program, I'm going to lose no sleep about it, and neither should you. Because as of right now, I don't expect him to contribute this season, and neither should you. Anybody, nobody right now should be like, man, we're going to need Cormani because we're in a bad way. No, we have got the talent in the secondary. They just have to stay healthy and perform. Who's he taking snaps from? Jason Marshall, Devin Moore, Jakeem Jackson, Sharif Denson? Any of those guys? No, not right now. But, they're saying now he's put on some weight, about, 5 to 10 pounds, which he needs to put on another 10 pounds on top of that because he's very thin right now. I mean, he's still under 180 pounds or something like that. But the talent is there. I think we can all agree, though, we'd like to see the kid put it together all mentally and on the field and get the best version. Wes, I know you're shaking your head. Do you have any thoughts about this whole situation?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Ursh. You kind of hit the nail on the head, as they say. It was he's not on scholarship. It was a flyer, as you stated. It's a big reward, low risk, as minimal risk as you can get. Yeah, he gets some NIL, but it's not going to hurt us anyway. We just talked about Grimsley and James brought up the 3-star DB that we got as well. So I mean, it's not like we are hurting this year. He was more for the future, maybe a year from now, 2 years, because I think he will be a junior or a true sophomore next year. So, not a true sophomore, excuse me, a redshirt sophomore next year. So it wasn't like we were.
Storms.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay, yeah. It wasn't like we were trying to have him thinking we were going to have him come in and contribute this year, so anything like that. So I'm gonna keep my thoughts minimal because of the storm. But yeah, you kind of hit everything, and I concur with everything you said. I second that, Dr. Hirsch.
CJ, anything to add?
I think, and this isn't a defense of Cormani so much as I just think it's the way we need to be. I think a lot of people are just like waiting on him to fail, and I think we need to get out of that mode. I don't think you should have super high expectations, but I think also too, hoping he'll fail or waiting on him to fail or anticipating that he fails. I don't think it does anybody any good. It doesn't do us any good. It doesn't do Cormani any good. If he does fail, then hey, that's what happened. Um, but I don't think that we should be as a fan base anticipating him to. And he very well might, and I understand he's given us all a lot of reasons to doubt him. But I think that this staff, as far as disciplinary issues go, and knowing when to cut bait when somebody becomes a problem, hasn't been the problem with this staff. So I think we are in a good spot to trust them as far as handling discipline and handling character issues and things like that. So I'm just going to let them do what they have to do. At the end of the day, we took him on as a walk on. If he makes it, then it's awesome for us. But I think there's an overarching theme of people within the fan base who are just like, oh, there it is. I told you, I knew it. It's like you're waiting to be right, and I just don't think that serves anybody. So I think too. I think we should be hoping that Cormani succeeds, because if he succeeds, then Florida succeeds because we got another good player. So I'm hoping for the best in this situation. I'm hoping for him to do well. If he doesn't, then he doesn't. But I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to let the staff do what they need to do, and trust that they know what they're doing in this situation. And I hope Cormani figures it out, and I hope he's a great player for us. And I hope that we look back on this one day as him just growing up a little bit, and that's all there is to it. I personally, I'm rooting for him. I want him to do well. So I think that's kind of the mindset we all need to have, is wanting Cormani to do well. And if he doesn't do well, then it's not our fault. It's the blame lies at his feet. So I wouldn't carry around that negative baggage about Cormani McClain.
Yeah, like I said, it's a situation where I think people are way overthinking it. If he succeeds, fantastic. It was a low risk, high payout situation. If he doesn't, I mean, all you can do is pray the kid finds some guidance in his life to get him back on track and get him into a good headspace, because right now he does not have that. It appears on the outside. I know the guys on the inside, Will Harris and company, are really working hard to try to get this young man to focus and get the most out of his God-given abilities so that he can have a lifetime of success. But if you don't have the right state of mind for it, man, you're never going to be. I mean, we've seen countless amounts of young men over the years throw away God-given talent because they couldn't focus on what they had in front of them. So, and it happens in everyday life. I mean, it not obviously just in football. So hopefully he's on the right road right now, and we're done with these kind of reports for a while. But let's move on to the last piece of news we want to talk about for today's show, and that is this Sunday, the big time commitment. Vernell Brown, wide receiver, is committing down to his final four: Florida, FSU, Miami, Ohio State. Obviously, we're talking about a legacy right here. We're talking about a kid. If there was a kid in this class that was you can't miss on this kid. You have to get this kid. Vernell Brown is that guy. I know a lot of people that matter have dubbed him kind of the DJ Lagway of this class. Like, we've got to get this kid, and then we'll go from there. I know right now, obviously on the outside looking in, we just talked about DJ Pickett going to LSU. Recruiting is not giving a whole lot of good vibes right now, and it kind of stinks, especially when you do a show that we do like here, that we kind of try to focus on recruiting, and we have to talk about so many other things because honestly right now there's not a lot of recruiting to talk about. It's kind of a bummer for us, but I think the Gators could really get themselves off of the schneid here on Sunday, landing Vernell Brown. And as of now, everything that I've heard, and I think the fellas have heard, is that we're in a really good spot for Vernell Brown. And all we can do now is kind of just wait till Sunday. We don't have a time on his commitment yet. I looked at his announcement. It didn't have a time listed with it. I would imagine it's probably going to be earlier in the day on a Sunday, and not late in the afternoon or something like that. But man, I mean, that would be the injection of positivity that this class needs for sure. If you could go ahead and get Vernell, wouldn't you say, CJ?
Absolutely. You're talking about a phenomenal talent. You're talking about a legacy, a kid that everybody thinks you should get. These are the layups that we talk about. Like, these should be layups. These should be things that you could, put in the bag. We saw a staff prior to this really struggle with this. Now we've done a pretty good job with legacies. We've talked about, we've got 2 of them that they've recruited. Now with Vernell Brown and then Ben Hanks, there's a couple more chances to add more. But I think that we sit in a good spot. Vernell Brown would be a great addition. We talk about needing big time wide receivers for DJ Lagway. They don't get more big time than this. We could talk about the body type. We could talk about needing a certain kind of wide receiver. I'm not worried about any of that. Vernell Brown he's a game changer. He's a baller. He's a kid that really loves the university, and this means something to him. It's his birthright. So I think that's where we stand. We've been surprised before, but I think we sit really good in this one, and it would give us finally a big win and maybe some positive momentum to carry on through the rest of the month, because we need some help here. Because we're about to hit August, and August is time for football. It's time for camp. It's time to get ready to go play Miami. So we'd like to see a strong finish here before everything the focus shifts to actual on the field stuff. So, but no, I think we sit really good. It'd be a great player to have, an awesome player to have, elite talent. You can't understate it, and I think we get it done.
Wes, you still with us? You want to add anything on Vernell before we get out of here?
Yeah.
There he is.
I've chronicled it and talked about how I want DJ to have a dude. I mean, next year, speaking if everything goes 75, 8-4, 9-3, 10-2, whatever. If Napiers still here next year and we still have a DJ, Trey probably has one more year after that. If we're projecting, this is me projecting that Trey will have another stellar year, improvement on last year, and then he'll have one more year with DJ, and then he's gone. So you want a stud with DJ, and that's what Brown represents. You have Mizell. Hopefully you have the speedster still be here. You want those type of receivers. You have 2 speedsters, and you have Andy Jean. Hopefully, if he can stay healthy. We have kind of a good core, but I still want a stud dude. And Andy Jean could be a stud dude too. I don't want to take anything from Andy Jean. I don't want to take anything away from Mizell and the specific talent that he has as far as his speed is concerned. Because we all know he's a speedster. You need all that around him, but I still want that special guy that on 3rd and 7 against Georgia, we know the ball is going to Vernell Brown, and he's going to make the catch. So you want that for DJ, and you want that for the program, and hopefully we can solidify this. CJ and you both chronicled his lineage, his pedigree, and all that stuff. So hopefully that's something that we can, someone that we can add to the class.
Yeah, this is, like we said, this is the guy you've got to get and then build off of that. So hopefully you get him in the class. Then we've got the barbecue at the end of the month. We'll probably talk more about that next week as we get more of a visitor list for that. And hopefully coming out of that barbecue, you can get maybe another couple of commitments coming off of that. Maybe a Montgomery or somebody else, a Bryce Fitzgerald. These kinds of kids that you're really close with, but you need to close it out and go ahead and secure their commitments before the season gets here. And then, if you have yourself a good positive run in the season, maybe we can start looking to flip some of these guys we've talked about and build this class up. Like we've said, though, it's not going to be a big class. It's not going to be one of those that's even going to threaten for a top 10 class because it's not going to have the numbers in it. It never was going to have the numbers in it to get that high. I mean, this is a class that's going to be anywhere from 18 to 20 kids, most likely. But, at that point, if Billy's still here next year, it gives you that room to go into the portal and get those stopgap guys that you need to have another roster to make a run next year when you've got DJ starting most likely as a true sophomore, and you build some experience around him would be the best way. So hopefully Sunday we've got some good news. If we do, it might be a case where I jump on and record a little episode and talk about Vernell and a few things. We'll see. Pot of the People will be out Sunday, so if nothing else, make sure you check out Pot of the People, guys. You've done a tremendous job watching that and dropping likes on that, and we appreciate all that. So thank you as always. CJ, what do you got to add before we get out of here?
Just real quick, I guess I'll go over the baseball thing we kind of leaned to.
Oh, yeah, my fault on that. Yeah.
Michael Ross, the pitcher from Sanford, the SoCon Valley pitcher of the year, unfortunately is not going to be making it to campus. The Minnesota Twins picked him in the 18th round of the draft, and you're probably sitting here saying that's ridiculous. Why would he take that? They apparently paid him above what that slot usually pays. He's going into his last year of eligibility, which is a risk for some of these kids to come back because you don't have any leverage next year. There's no. Well, I'm just going to go back and play college baseball if you don't give me the money I want. So a lot of kids end up just taking the cash. We lost, of course, our big recruit, Lindsey, in the first round, going to the Dodgers to play shortstop. That was a guy that we knew was a lost cause. You're talking about a $3.5 million slotted payout there. He's not going to turn that down. And he got drafted by a good organization. That always helps. So, yeah, but a lot of our other guys, they're going to look like they're going to make it to campus. Colby Shelton's supposed to be coming back. You've added a lot of those. Ty Evans, a guy that we for a long time, I think for the last couple of months, even De La Torre was very skeptical that we'd see him at Florida again next season. But Ty Evans is coming back. Luke Heyman is another guy that you're getting back. So next year there should be a really solid core of guys. Again, I worry still about the pitching. You did add the pitcher from Clemson. So you've added some pieces
and the JUCO
here
kid
and there.
Today.
You added a JUCO kid today from Santa Fe College right up the road there in Gainesville. He's
190. Woo.
Yeah, he's a guy with. He's got a lot to build on. I don't expect him being a starter, maybe a midweek starter, but right now he's a bullpen guy. So we saw last year that we've had some guys. Pierce Capallo's coming back. McNeely's coming back. So you've got guys that are there, but they're having to grow. They all play in these summer ball leagues and things like that. So they're still getting reps. They'll come onto campus next year, see if they can build on that. That's the only really question marks I have with the baseball team next year is where are we going to be at with pitching? But now, unless something major happens, we're going to shelve baseball, unfortunately. But it's almost time for football seasons. We're going to put baseball on the shelf. But like I said, if anything happens that's big news, I'll let you guys know. But before we get out of here, thank you so much for supporting us as creators. Check out the Facebook, check out the Twitter, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. That stuff helps us out a ton. Leave a comment about the college football 25 game if you've got it. What are you doing on there? Playing Road to Glory? You build a dynasty? You just play head-to-head? You play in some mutt? Whatever you like to do.
All right.
Let us know. Do you not have the game? Are you waiting for it? Or you're not going to buy it because you hate EA? Do you like to play 2K instead? Hey, you let us know. We'll take all the comments. They help us out a ton. Check out our friends at Florida Victorious. Use our code. If you something you want to do, help support Gator athletes. Check out our friends at Alma Mater. Use our link. You can get a hat like the one I'm wearing right here, the Sunday Weekender hat. They've got this one in blue, gray, black, and white, of course, is what I'm wearing. So you want something like that, go ahead and go get it. It's almost football season, man. You got to get some new gear, You can't just be trying out the same old stuff every year. You got to get some new stuff. So they've got a ton of stuff over there for you guys, a bunch of NIL stuff with the Gator athletes on it. They're going to be pumping out more through the month because of NIL and all the jersey programs that they do. So check out our friends at Alma Mater. Use our link. That stuff helps us out a ton. And thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Wes, take us home.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you guys. Subscribe, like, drop a comment, and look forward to upcoming podcasts in the future. Again, we're gonna be dropping our season preview, what we think, wins, losses, breakout players, etc. So look forward to that, and we may have a special guest or two coming on to help us predict that in the future. So stay tuned. We're getting closer. Week by week is getting here, man. We almost there. So and as always, go Gators.
Yes, sir. Go Gators,
Gators.
baby.